tried Drupal Forge before? All right, go to drupalforge.org. I'm not doing a live demo because of the time, but I will. But you can follow along on these videos. This is what you see when you get to Drupal Forge. We do a quick verification of the user, then you instantly launch a Drupal CMS site in this case. Go through the installer, the full installer, so that you get the complete experience. We did some optimizations to make that faster, and then it lands you on the dashboard. Then you can play around with the site, learn everything that you can do with it, fix errors, install new software. It's not a lockdown demo. It's a full demo that you have complete control over. We even have $1 AI credit for you to play with the AI features. So you go in there and figure out what it can do for you. So Drupal CMS, you shouldn't have to install an app, set up a local environment, sign up for hosting, any of those other obstacles. We're trying to eliminate friction to trying Drupal and Drupal CMS. You can try a lot of different Drupal things on Drupal Forge. So far, those of us who are working on it are not great writers, so there's not a lot of description. But there is some nice things like the Drupal Canvas trial experience. This one jumps right into a fully installed site because there's no benefit to showing you the installer in this demo. And then you land right on the Canvas page. You can start working on the pages. And Drupal Canvas is a topic for another time, probably already been discussed here. So I'm just showing you how easy it is to try out on Drupal Forge. Some other demos you might want to check out is the Drupal AI Code demo, where you can play with different AI tools on the command line. And then QED42 in India, they've come up with a bunch of different AI experiences for you to try. We have designed these demos to not be for you to go to drupalforge.org and try out, but for you to be able to embed wherever you want to. So to make that easier, we've created a Drupal Forge token module. So you're creating a page, you have a token filter, you put in Drupal Forge, and then you go look up on the Drupal Forge site, the template ID, put in the template ID, and then you get the launch widget on your own site. And I do need to update this module. Its JavaScript is slightly out of date, so it's as you can see, it's not quite as nice as it is on drupalforge.org, but it works, and you can launch from there. Of course, you will need to contact us. You can do that on Slack to get your domain authorized to embed from Drupal Forge, because embedding is so strict nowadays. Now, I was saying you could play with AI tools on the command line. How are you going to do that? Well, you do not need to install anything locally. You get an optional Cloud Dev environment. Put in the password, which is given to you in the launch widget, and you get VS Code in your browser. Open your terminal. You have a full command line access. You've got Drush. And you can install other tools because this is a container that's completely under your control. I believe it's a Debian container, so you can use apt to install whatever will run in it. You can do live editing. So anything you change in the files in this editor, you'll immediately see on your demo site. So you do some you try out the demo and then you actually get serious and you find out some time has gone by and you want to save your work. How do you do that? Well, there's a save button. So you just click save. You'll be able to create an account and you'll log in and you'll have, oh, there we go. I thought I'd sped this up more. And now you have a saved application in your account. You can extend the time that you have to work on this. If you haven't saved it, you can extend it up to 2 hours. If you saved it, you can extend it up to 6 hours. And when it goes to sleep, you can go back and find it and wake it up again. You can make backups, and those backups will give you the database and the files to run this site locally with something like Drush or DDEV. No, DDEV, just DDEV. You can see your logs. You can even get your database with PHP admin, and you can invite other people to have access to the dev environment with you. And then here you can. This is where you can see the different apps you have. You can delete them. You can open the admin interface, but we'll see the admin interface more later. Sharing on this slide, sharing your work. So you've got a site that's really nice that you've built on Drupal Forge, and you want to duplicate it. You want to make it available to a lot more people. Well, they don't have to go through the steps you did. You can export that site to a template. And then you can add the template to Drupal Forge. Just contact us. We'll give you your account access to do that. You get the template ID in there. There's a few odd things with the form right now. Like I said, we're all unpaid volunteers. And then it gives you a GitLab repository to manage your code. And this repository will contain your code, and it will also contain an image which is optimized for fast startup. So everything, it's like the state of your app is saved in that image. Now, if you want to create an image, a fast start image for an app that already exists, like a Composer project, you wouldn't start with an existing Drupal Forge demo and customize it. You would start with the Drupal Forge starter template, which you can find on GitHub. Look for the Drupal Forge organization. You've got the starter template here, and there will be instructions in the starter template for how to make it work. You can either have a composer.json automatically generated from the Composer project, or you can put your own composer.json file in there and get it spun up that way. Then you'll create a GitHub add a GitHub action that will generate your image and upload it to Docker Hub or wherever you want it to be, and then you go through the process on the dev panel admin interface to make that template available on Drupal Forge. So we had heard, we used DrupalPod a lot. In fact, DrupalPod was one of the inspirations for Drupal Forge. And then we found out that Gitpod, which DrupalPod was written for, was going to stop providing free hosting for developers. So now you would have to get your own hosting. You'd have to connect it to your Gitpod account. It was, again, friction that we wanted to eliminate. So we want to eliminate friction for trying Drupal. We also want to eliminate friction for contributing to Drupal. So we took that dev environment and we created a web form. that takes a bunch of parameters from a command line, I mean from a URL, and it puts them in, turns them into environment variables. So I'll show you how that works. You don't have to figure out how to create that URL yourself, because we have a browser plugin, the Drupal Forge browser plugin. You just go to a Drupal Forge, to a Drupal issue page, and it will automatically figure out from that issue page what the URL needs to be to populate all of those environment variables. It will deploy, and it will bring you to a fully functional app with your development environment. There's a few things that are not working as well as with GitHub. You can't register your GitLab account on Drupal Forge yet. So you need to get that token manually and configure your GitLab account in the command line. But we're always looking for more contributors to help get us there. So you want to make Drupal Forge your own. We have something called spaces. So if you go to your account, you'll see My Space, and this is my version of the Drupal Forge page with the demos that I want to feature on my page. You can, okay, yeah, this is so how you add those demos, and this is a GovCMS space. You can add a custom domain to this page, and then let us know that you want to do a custom domain, and we can set you up with a custom domain that has your own branding, your own menu, but it's still the Drupal Forge website. You don't have to set it up yourself. Now, you can set it up yourself because this is an open source project. It's a Drupal project, drupal.org/project/Drupal Forge. The code for the site is all there. Not for the dev panel backend. Dev panel provides APIs, so you would need to work with dev panel to get the APIs that do all the deployment. But you don't. Dev panel is not a hosting company. They just provide a deployment tool and management dashboard. So you can use your own hosting. Right now for Drupal Forge, we're using DigitalOcean. I just went thinking confused because we've got so much digital going on here. So why are we doing this? Well, we want to. This started in. Let's see, how much time do I have left? Oh, we're doing good. In 2022, at DrupalCon Portland, people were talking about makers and takers in the Drupal ecosystem. They were talking about companies that just take all of our work and make a profit and don't help with the work. And they were saying, what are we going to do? Because if this goes on, all the profits will keep going to the takers, and they'll benefit by not contributing anything to the making. And I started thinking, could we come up with a business model that rewards making? I think as a maker, like a project maintainer for a Drupal module, you have some trust that built up, and people would want your support but they're not going to pay extra to get it if they don't have to. So what I was thinking was, what if we provided a way for project maintainers to sell Drupal as a service? And we didn't have a good it was very complicated at that time, and then it got, when in 2024, when they announced Drupal CMS, we thought, okay, this is a mass market product that we can make available to be Drupal as a service. What often happens with Drupal contribution is somebody gets something working well enough for themselves, and then they put it out there and they say, okay, whoever wants to get it working for everybody, welcome to contribute. And it doesn't happen. Or they get it all polished up so that it works for everybody, but they don't have time to keep up with maintenance and keep it working at its best with the latest versions of Drupal. So maintainers need recurring revenue. They don't need to, it's not most maintainers are volunteers. It's not their job to be begging sponsorships and odd jobs in order to be able to maintain their projects. If that project stops being needed in their job, most of them just move on. So Drupal as a service is what we're building with Drupal Forge. We're trying to build a marketplace where maintainers can put their templates up. They can sell Drupal as a service with a donation percentage that goes back to them as a donation to keep their projects maintained. And why do we want to do this? We want to do this because, again, eliminate friction for users. People are not going to adopt Drupal if the first impression is a bad one. If it looks unfinished. I mean, some people will buy an unfinished house and finish it up and move in. A lot of people would rather buy a house that's already finished. Some people just can't look at a construction site and imagine what it's going to be one day. So what we're trying to do is support Drupal becoming a polished mass market thing, because we believe that when it reaches the mass market and people will learn how easy it is to work on and to contribute and to improve, all of us will benefit from that. So who did I talk to in 2022? I talked to all the vendors on the Expo Hall 4 at DrupalCon. And there was one who said, I know a way we can do this, and it was Salim Lakhani from DevPanel. And it went dormant for the 2 years, like I said, and then I called him. He wasn't at DrupalCon 2024. He said, you got to make sure that this isn't going to make Dries mad, because remember, Dries had Drupal Gardens. And he shut it down, so maybe Dries doesn't like Drupal as a service. So I talked to Dries. I said, Dries, if we have this idea that would not only revive what Drupal Gardens was, but would make possible thousands of Drupal Gardens. And Dries said, let a million flowers bloom. So I called Salim and I said, Dries said, go ahead. Didn't know at the time that Acquia was going to be coming out with their own Acquia source to provide Drupal as a service. But with Drupal Forge, we're not dependent on the business interests of one company. What we want is for lots of companies to build Drupal Forge into their services. So it's something that we can know is going to be solid for the future. And that's the most important thing we need to keep going. We're not there yet, though, because just getting the demo platform working what has taken us till now. We still need to polish that up, and then we need to build in the marketplace features. So we need more participants. We need people who can help to polish up the documentation and the interface. We need sponsors to keep us going until we can get that market running. And if you work for a company that has concerns that Drupal Forge would conflict with your business plans, talk to us, because Drupal Forge is not a company. We're not trying to beat any company. We're trying to make all Drupal companies prosper. Another thing we need in order to keep going is, well, we need our primary dev sponsor, supporter, dev panel that built the back-end interface for us. We need them to be worth their while to stay engaged. So please check out their services. You can build your own hosting management platform. You can buy the cheapest hosting you want and manage it with dev panel. So it's a really good thing if you are looking for something to save your costs that one of the large hosting providers might charge you. You can stay in touch with us and get involved by trying out our demos on DrupalForge.org. You can collaborate with us in our project. You can donate on Open Collective. You can chat with us on Drupal Slack. And you can follow Drupal Forge on LinkedIn. So, any questions? Yes.
So you said in Drupal Forge that it is to generate some revenues for like contributors, right?
Yes.
So, but beside that, how is it different than Drupal CMS?
Drupal CMS is a product that you can try on Drupal Forge.
Okay, so it's built in.
Yes. Yeah. The Drupal Forge will not be selling code. It will be selling Drupal as a service. So it's a little. You might have heard about the Drupal site template marketplace. That is not the same thing as what Drupal Forge is doing. That is the idea there is that you have private repos that you get paid access to. And Drupal Forge is trying to promote a different business model because we think that, I know the Drupal community has WordPress envy. We see the WordPress plugin marketplace and people making money, but people don't have the incentive to collaborate in that model. And open collaboration is the essence of Drupal. So we're trying to build a business model that maintains that.
Do you mind repeating the questions back for the?
Oh, okay. Yes, the question was, what's the difference between Drupal CMS and Drupal Forge? Any other questions?
How do you plan on marketing, not marketing, but how do you plan on return on investment, or like how does somebody pay for this?
It's also a hosting platform, I understand.
Yeah. We have a number. We're hoping that some of the hosting companies will work us into their workflow, so you can deploy your site from Drupal Forge to a permanent hosting, like with Pantheon. We haven't gotten much interest, so right now we're thinking that we'll let those who are selling Drupal as a service sell their own hosting, from whether it's from DigitalOcean or AWS, whatever they want, they'll be able to sell it on Drupal Forge.
If we create a website on Drupal Forge and it starts generating a lot of network traffic, starts becoming really huge, will we eventually have to get kicked off of Drupal Forge?
Okay, you get a limit of 1 month of free hosting on Drupal Forge.
Okay.
And it always goes to sleep after 12 hours at the maximum.
Okay.
So this is not permanent hosting, this is demo.
Okay.
So you can create a website and then you can save it and export it, and
Yes.
there's no charges for that?
No.
Amazing.
Well, it is amazing. I'm surprised DevPanel has stayed in it for this long, and I'm hoping to get more stable support for it, diversifying.
So this is not like production ready yet, right? You said
It is production ready.
So are there anybody who is using Forge for their production
Yeah,
site?
the main use of Drupal Forge right now is in trainings and classes. People will put up different Drupal experiences that they're going to be using for training in their class. Like day one, we're going to do this, day two, that, and they'll have it on Drupal Forge. Rod Martin uses it a lot for that, and so does Mike and Ella.
Mm.
And so does Drupal Forge support like pre-built projects locally that you can push to the Drupal Forge for demo purpose? Or do
What you would have to, we don't have a way to push right now. You'd have to push it to a repo on GitHub or GitLab first, and then pull it into Drupal Forge.
Okay.
Is there a way to upload like a database or no? Or would you have to just start from an
Yeah,
install?
I know there's a way to download the database. I don't know about uploading.
Okay, thank you.
This is great. Thank you so much for the presentation.
Thank you.